way back in the day, they used to call autism infantile psychosis.
Yes.
And yes, and they used to be institutionalized, and because they would isolate themselves and stuff, they thought it was a type of psychosis, right? And so what we've found is that there's a lot of the lack of social interactions and stuff that, we're not. But now we're seeing people who have autism that are doctors.
Yeah.
We're seeing people who have autism.
Yeah.
They struggle in some areas, but there are ways to offset that. Now, understandably, it's a spectrum. So we have people along the entire spectrum of different things. But I think that the awareness and the education that we are trying to make people, better at and give them the tools to be able to really offset some of these things and really have these kids be functional members of society and give them the support that they need, gives them a better chance at a future that is filled with a life that can be extraordinary.
Parenting a child with special needs can feel like you're constantly pushing through barriers. But it's a journey filled with love, often marked by isolation, unanswered questions, moments that make you question if you're doing enough. Breaking Limits podcast is a safe space that tackles the parent experience. For parents ready to trade isolation for inspiration or confusion for clarity, real talk, real tools, real breakthroughs, where we hold conversations, ask the hard questions, and remind you that you're not alone walking this path. I'm your host, Dr. Vivienne Pierre, physical therapist, advocate, fellow warrior. On this journey, I'm excited to share these conversations with you that are so close to many of your hearts. I welcome you to the Breaking Limits podcast. There are moments in life that completely redefine who we are. Moments that challenge everything we thought we knew about ourselves, our future, and our limits. Welcome to the Breaking Limits, the podcast that rewrites the narrative of parents of children with special needs. This isn't just another show, as you know, it's a safe space for the true parent experience where the hard conversations happen, where truth meets hope, and where you're reminded that you are not alone. The space where we speak the unspoken, shed light on the hidden, and honor the journey of parenting a child with neurological differences. I'm your host, Dr. Vivienne Pierre, physical therapist, advocate, coach, real estate investor, and a fierce believer that our children are here to show us what's possible, not what's broken. So let's break the silence, break the stigma, and most of all, break the limits of what's possible. Each week on Breaking Limits, we dive deep into the real life stories, expert insights, and breakthrough moments that help families rise above guilt, confusion, and overwhelm, and the clarity, connection, and confidence it takes. Today's episode is personal, it's raw, it's one of the hardest but most important conversations we can have. The feeling most parents bury deep because they're afraid to say them out loud. The guilt, the grief, the quiet resentment, the financial weight, the loss of identity, all the things it takes. The dreams that feel that maybe die quietly in the background while the world tells you to just, be grateful. And you are grateful. But that doesn't mean that the journey isn't hard. It isn't a pity party, but it is an invitation to be real, to be human, to be heard. Today's episode is deeply personal. I'm sitting down with my dear high school friend, a woman I've watched evolve into an incredible leader, advocate, wife, and mother, Terri Poon-King Bleasdell. Terri was initially the HR manager for Massy Machinery, previously Trackmark, here in Trinidad and Tobago, for the last 14 years, leading up to being an assistant vice president of talent and transformation at Massy Machinery Ltd in Trinidad for the last 7 years. She's a proud mom of 2 children, Caitlin, 12 years, going on 21, and her son, Liam, who's 10, and he is on the spectrum. And this conversation goes beyond professional. This is the emotional reality of receiving an autism diagnosis. The bears parents rarely say out loud what support looks like in Trinidad and Tobago, and maybe the global conversation that ripple across families worldwide. This is a conversation for parents navigating uncertainty, for professionals who want to support families better, and for anyone who believes that awareness leads to more action. So Terri, I'm so happy and honored to have you here. I know that she's nervous, but I welcome you here to the Breaking Limits podcast. And I just want you to share your story with everyone because I'm so proud of you and I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. And your son Liam has made such leaps and bounds, right, and everything. But I knew it wasn't just all puppies and rainbows, right? It wasn't all puppies and rainbows. So before we dive into anything, I want people to know about you. So tell me a little bit about you. What shaped you and your sense of motherhood and what that looked like for you, even before you had Leo?
Okay, so I come from a family of 6. Vivienne knows my family.
Yeah, so closely.
My mom and dad have been married for this making only my age. They've been married for like 48 years. And I was born like a year later. I have a brother and 2 sisters. My mom and dad are very traditional parents, strong believers in the Roman Catholic religion. So, we were brought up in that sort of environment, church every Sunday. They are also very family oriented. So their life was surrounded with work and family, right? And I've taken those same beliefs and ways of life into my household.
I can attest to that because I was extended family.
Yeah. And my husband, he also comes from a family of 6,
right?
And similar traditional family upbringing as well. So it was ×2 in our house. So Liam had no escape. So that's home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, well, tell me a little bit about the moment. Take me back to that moment that you first found out that Liam had autism, because you have Caitlin, because Caitlin's 12.
Yes.
And Caitlin is, let me tell you, in her own right.
She is not easy, which is a good thing.
And so take me back. So when Liam was born, Caitlin was already 2.
Yes.
Okay.
She was 2 or 3, maybe.
Okay.
Liam, when he was born, so Liam.
That was life before. So life with Caitlin before. Tell me about family life then.
Okay.
Like, what did that look like?
Caitlin was like the princess in the family because she was the first grandchild amongst both Ko and my family. So she really was.
That's right, because you were the oldest of your siblings.
Maybe queen. So she was well taken care of.
Right.
And she, growing up, she was like hitting all the milestones, like bam, 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 so life was great, life was, I would dare say, flipped.
Going according to plan, what you expected. Right.
And when we went through the usual challenges, obviously, with our firstborn, like trying to find a role as parents and, all the chores and stuff that comes with that, right? So, but that's normal, right? So
I remember about Caitlin. I remember when Terri and I went to high school, right? St. Joseph Convent. And I remember we all it was the village, right? So we all took Caitlin to the high school function, right? And we were all there.
So we were trying to join the Catholic People's
Association
because we wanted to make sure Caitlin had her foothold in secondary
school, but she's still a little baby.
I was 1 year old. Like we all, my sister and Vivienne, all went to this meeting with this baby, and I'm there changing a diaper on a table during the meeting. So we were making sure Caitlin had everything lined up.
We were like, we're ready. Everybody's there. Everybody's supportive. Everybody knows what's happening. Right? I remember that so dramatically.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So then
Liam, right?
So Liam was born, and he also in the early stages started to hit his milestones. So for example, walking, and then when he was born, I need to just add this in. It was 3 cousins. So Liam, my son, my sister also had her son.
Right, Christine.
And my brother also had
Robert's
son.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all 3 of them were born like a month apart from each other. So it was Carson, which is my sister's son, then was it Ty first? Oh my gosh, Ty, Carson, and Liam was one month after them, right? Liam was actually the first one to start talking, saying words, and then it just stopped. mind you, when I we did not pick up on anything that was awkwardly young, right? And actually, it was my mom, because my mom was the one who was helping to take care of the children while we were at work. And she noticed Ty and Carson were saying, if it's 10 words or 20 words, and Leon was just silent. And then she brought it to my attention, and then we started to pay closer attention to it, monitor it. And yes, he was maybe pointing. He was not saying anything, right? Like he would take you somewhere if you needed something.
Now, at this time, was he interacting with the other?
Right. So he. No. Well, so Caitlin wasn't exactly happy that she had a brother, right? So she did not interact with Liam. It was so bad that she wouldn't even say his name. She would say the boy that left with us or something like that. Like, something weird she's just saying. Right?
that often comes with, you know what I mean, the jealousy of the second child or the other child.
Yes, so she did.
Well, she was accustomed being the queen, you know, the diva, you know, he's infringing on territory.
So at home, we didn't notice it right away. Right. But when we were at family gatherings, that's when we noticed it. So all the cousins would be following Caitlin except Leo.
Do you remember around what age that was? Approximately.
Probably around 2, because this would have been before he started kindergarten. And I remember raising it with the pediatrician, right? Saying, you know, he's not talking and whatever. So the pediatrician advised or recommended that we take him to a speech therapist, right? Okay. Which is fine. But, you know, he didn't have like a list to share with us or names or reference. So I went and did research. I actually went on Google and I found a speech therapist. And this would have been a friend who went primary school with us. Oh. Robin Edwards. Yes, she's a teacher. So
to reach out to her.
Yeah, so I reached out to her and we were able to get some sessions in, right?
Okay.
So every time we were full on doing some intense speech therapy, but during that time,
did you have a diagnosis by this time? So at this point, so she was referred to do speech. So he was referred to do speech therapy, but no diagnosis. All you guys know that there was a delay in speech. Nothing else came up.
Correct. Around the same time we started the speech therapy, as a mom, my gut, something was just telling me, like, you know, just because we were doing this speech therapy and he was saying some words, but he still wasn't talking.
Right.
And then he started kindergarten. So when he started kindergarten, after that first term, or probably not even the full term, the principal wanted to talk to me. So she spoke to Nicole and I, and she told us Liam was having trouble in school. And he wasn't focused, he wasn't interacting, engaging in any way. That's when it reinforced to me that, okay, something is off with Liam or something is not right with Liam, right? So I had to, thank God for my company. They do have a employee assistance program.
Okay.
Right? So I had reached out to a former HR lead, and she put me on to a provider. And that's how we got into the whole trying to find out the diagnosis.
Okay.
So this was a psychologist.
Okay.
And she has a team of people, and a person on her team, she is a pediatric psychologist.
Okay.
Yeah. And we took Liam in, we met with him, and we did the whole assessment. I think it was a psychoeducational assessment, right?
Okay. So she was different. So she was trained differently than your general pediatrician.
Yeah. This is separate. The pediatrician we went to was like vaccination, that sort of thing.
General
medical stuff.
Because this is I interviewed a pediatrician out of Arizona recently, and this is something that, just so that you guys know, that is coming up. Because the normal pediatrician, deal with different things, different ailments and stuff, but the general diagnoses, what we're finding out is that unless you go to someone that is trained specifically in looking for certain cues, we're missing a lot of these diagnoses. So it seems like, thank God through your company, and this is also No, this is actually
It's
very
not for
rare
everyone.
also,
It's
right?
not for everyone,
So,
yeah.
I give props to, to Massy, the Massy that in their education program here that they had that's linked to this pediatric
Good.
psychologist to be able to do that. So that was fantastic.
So at first, they didn't want to test him because he was young. Saying this test, I think he was 2.5, but
Okay.
in the end, they did 2 hours.
Okay.
We waited a little time. Again, this is a long time. He's great. Anyway, so we did the test, and the day came, and they had to give us the diagnosis, right? So before that day, obviously, nerves kick in and I'm tired.
Thinking about everything that
You have mixed feelings because like, okay, you're gonna get an answer, but at the same time, you're fearful of what that answer could be, right? And the word of autism is not something we knew about, right? Anyway, so we went to the meeting, all of us, Caitlin, Nico, and myself, and I remember all of us in the room, and the children were on the side, drawing on a board, and they laid it out for us, right? And it was the senior psychologist and the pediatric psychologist, right? So they told us Leon is autistic. Well, as soon as I heard that word, honestly, I felt like I was just swallowed up. Like I felt really slow, and my heart just sank, and I just remember crying. Like I couldn't hold it up. And my head was down.
what about the word for you? Because you said you weren't really familiar with the word, but when you got that diagnosis and you got that,
it's not because so I didn't know what autism meant. But the feeling I felt was like my child was not normal, right? And all that I knew about life and what normal meant, I realized that's no more. So that was the feeling I was feeling like what's gonna happen with my child, right? Just before I even knew exactly what autism was, but I just knew
it was not going to be
there's something wrong with my child, and
things were no longer going to be the same.
Right. And Vivienne knows I am a person who plans, right? Like I even planned for when I was ready to have children, huh? Like when I was married for 5 years, I was working on my career. I was not ready for children. So it's really when I was like, okay,
right.
And that's them. You just fall in line, right? With parents.
Nico understood the assignment. I've known Nicholas for a long time. Understood the assignment.
Anyway, so when I did that diagnosis, it just seemed like there were no plans, right? So Nico was different. He tried to muster like some sort of strength and positivity about it. And now, mind you, Caitlin was across on the other side of the room.
Right.
And she just quietly walked over and she handed me, she didn't even talk, she handed me a piece of paper. And it was, are you all right? Or is everything okay? Something like that she wrote. And I just had to nod, try not to think.
And if you understand Caitlin, you understand how powerful this is
she said Caitlin is high on, what was it?
Emotional IQ.
Yeah. Yes. So that was her first introduction.
We know why Caitlin had to come first. All the reasons why Caitlin had to come first.
So right. So when they told us autistic, so I said I didn't know autism, but I need to take that because I would have heard, you hear loosely things out there and the myths that comes around that word autism. So when they started getting into it, things started coming to me. So I was like, is it that I'm imagining a child in the corner, like just rocking, not talking to anybody and that sort of thing. And the psychologist, were just telling myths left, right, and center, and so that kind of helps a little bit.
So she was trying to at that time, in that moment, from the very beginning, you were able to have some of the myths, some of the things that you thought it was. Oh, very good.
So she started to keep me. So, the next step was obviously to inform our families about it.
Now, before you go there, behind the closed doors, what about Nico? Because we often talk about.
Oh wait, I forgot to say something. So before we even reach the stage of kindergarten and I'm diagnosed and all that, I forgot to mention about family and friends, right? I might have talked hey, something's wrong. I think something's wrong. I thought, and you get the usual no, don't worry, they'll talk in time. It was very dismissive throughout this.
How did that make you feel?
An extended family, it made me feel like, do they really, that they don't understand what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and a part of me like, okay, I want to believe them, but a part of me like kept fucking like, no, something is.
The gut is telling you that. Gut is telling you that.
I couldn't ignore it, right? And then, for me, knowing what it was early on and knowing how to fix it was important to me.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, so that hurts. You were saying,
I was saying many times, we talk a lot to the moms and stuff, and the dad tries to be very stoic. Behind closed doors, what was the sense that you felt like Nico was feeling at this point in this time?
He wasn't very talkative about it, to be honest. It was mostly me, like, I'm like, we're all talking about, right? So to get to the cross more. Right? Anytime I told about Nico would want to, or I was saying want to, because I felt like he felt obligated to play that role, to be the strong one, right? So it was always like, please don't worry, he'll be all right, we'll figure it out, So he was that voice on the side,
So you didn't feel like you were alone. You felt like he was right there next to you, being ready to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the diagnosis, we what was the course of action, right? What was the next steps for us to help him through this journey? So we continued speech therapy without any, but and what happened was Nick and I ended up by his family, and his brother was there and his brother's wife, right? And so we were telling them about the experience and everything. And it so happened that his wife also knew a speech therapist, but this speech therapist was in the field of neurodiverse children. There you go.
So very specialized again.
Right. So that's when my eye opened, like, I thought speech therapists really cool. Right? I didn't know, they were like specialized speech therapists, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh my gosh, and this person was like her cousin, and I said, oh my God, please, got her contact information, and well, that just opened a whole new world for Nico and I and Liam, right? So connected with her, and she really educated us. Like, she was an expert in this field, right? And she worked abroad. She worked in Trinidad. She was, I don't know, that light in the dark clouds. Right. Like, she was that light for us. So we connected with her, and we started to do speech therapy.
So share with us some of the things maybe that she educated you on, or some of the things that that the light opened up, because I know we've had conversations about some things that you were like, I don't know if I could do this, because this that she was telling you that this would be good for, to put forward into action, or some of the things to create some of the parameters for him to move forward.
Yeah.
And as a mom, is a push-pull relationship as you're trying to do some of these things, because you want to be there, you want to hold him up, but he has to work through some of those hard times, right?
So the speech therapy we couldn't do it properly because COVID people.
Okay, so that creates
and online with Liam, that would have been to keep us focused.
Right.
Would have been, and then I was working from home. It couldn't happen, right? Okay. So what she guided us on was we did a program is the Hanan program, More Than Words.
Okay.
She's a certified instructor, correct? Okay. Facilitator, correct? I can't remember which program was USB, so where it came from, right? Okay. Anyway, but so it's a program for parents, and it's to guide parents on how to engage their children or child, and the techniques to help them along to get them to talk and interact, right, with others. So I think it was a couple of weeks. So every week we had a session. I invited my sister in one, Caitlin joined the couple,
So it's all inclusive for the child, but others as well. It could be for others.
It's not just parents.
Okay.
Anybody who interacts with each other could take part in it, right? So that program really helped us. So yes, so some of the things Vivienne spoke about, I'll give you like one example. To get him to talk, they said it's not that he has to say the whole word.
Right.
So like if he wants, food is something that children gravitate to
Right.
own or want, right? So if Liam wanted a snack and say some marshmallow, right? He would point to it, right? So try to like, I guess, ignore the point and get him to, even if it's a grunt or even if there's like a you reward him for that. So if once he says a song in that direction or just say a song, you give him the marshmallow. But you have to like keep at it. Oh my God. And I am not somebody who's because as a mother, you like, because I'm so in tune with my son, right? He just has to look in the direction I know what he wants, right? So he just like look, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, right, go and I get it. Then I'm like, here love, right? Well, but that was not helping him.
That's right.
That was keeping him back actually. That's right. So it was, as Vivienne said, I had to like step out of my comfort zone and really, push me to
give him the moment, give him the time to respond. He needed that additional time to then, because you wanted it now. And he needed that time, and sometimes we're in such a hurry and such, so many things are happening because you're, like I said, you're working. Nico's working. He's an account manager. Kate, you have to deal with Caitlin as well. There's other things that are happening in life, right? And you guys are managing so many things, and it just requires sometimes to slow down.
So it was just to understand that in Caitlin's case, we probably just had to tell her something maybe twice and she got it. But in Liam's case, we might have to tell him 50 times, maybe even 100 times before he actually gets it, right? So it was us having to deal with that at home, our challenging gets worked by. And then on top of that, having to educate our family too, because he spent time there too. And it was hard to educate mom, dad, because as I said, mom is very traditional. Liam went through a hard time there because mom, and in the beginning, before we knew the diagnosis, mom just saw him as a troubled child. He's a troublemaker, and she had to like get him in line and whatever. So that was a real difficult time. But now that we got the diagnosis, same thing, she broke down as well. But I had to educate her. She didn't know anything about autism. To this day, she is still challenged. When she helps the it's like for example with the it's a lot of recognition needed, so positive reinforcement. In my household, it wasn't always like recognition galore. Yeah, my mom is like it's because of her background too. She's more on the Chinese side, right? So Chinese people are not exactly very expressive in the emotions, right? So I could count on my hand how many times mom is, shows like actually shows like love via, hugs and kisses and all that. So it's hard for her to just switch to that with Liam, and with Liam is like more. My dad on the other hand, he's a little more on the Spanish side, so he was one of the really very
expressive.
Yeah, we got that good balance at home.
Yes.
So he helps in that category. It is a journey. You have to educate the family and stuff like that. So,
I can see that. And a lot of families, you see that, but you raised something very important. The idea that the education extends outside of your home. Because even though you got educated and Nico got educated and in that Caitlin got educated, right? That is the direct influence there, but it expanded outside of your home to your family and even your friends with respect to operating and dealing with Liam. You know what I mean? When you guys interacted with them. So that is a very, very important part. And I don't want to harp on this too much, but do you find yourself grieving for a life that you feel like you've lost at all?
Yes. And that's something I always used to tell Nicole, right? As I said before with Caitlin, like I could see her future like for years. And even if she doesn't accomplish like every single one of those things, like she's in the right, like in my head, she's in the right direction. She's doing well in school. She'll go second. She is in secondary school now. And I mean, this was how many years, right? So I saw that lady. I knew what school she was going to. And I knew she would get a job. Like I could just see her happening out there.
She's moving forward. There's a future.
With Liam, I couldn't see. To this day, I could probably see like the next couple of years, but I can't see beyond that. Like I have no vision for him. Like I don't know where he will end up. And there was something in the program we did with the speech therapist, right? And in the program, she made a comment to all of us parents, and she said, there are a lot of cases out there where because parents didn't or held back their child because they didn't want to step out of their comfort zone and do these things and help them to become independent, and they are in institutions for the rest of their life. And when she told me that, I was like, I knew right away I didn't want that for my son. Because part of me was thinking that, oh my God, am I going to be like old and Liam is still going to be living when I still there? What happens if I die? Right? Here, and it was like, okay, I know what the end goal was. And the end goal for me was for Liam to be able to function in society and have independence, right? So I knew the goal, but to get there, still a journey. Right?
And I think that, a lot of parents who are listening, I know that they're saying that too is them. It's not clear, like Caitlin, you have a general idea and you know that Caitlin will figure it out and there are options and stuff. And you're worried about the options that Liam may have for the future, and God forbid you guys are not here. I reject that. That's, who will take care of him and, what happens in that space, but it is the uncertainty of the future. But the reality is, and this is why we have this, is that I truly believe, like I said at the top when I introduced us, is that I don't think that these kids are broken. I said one of the biggest things with autism is that it's a communication space, right? It's that they're communicating. We just don't understand.
Yes.
But they are absolutely communicating at all times.
Yes.
Right? Way back in the day, they used to call autism infantile psychosis.
Yes.
And they used to be institutionalized, and because they would isolate themselves and stuff, they thought it was a type of psychosis, right? And so what we've found is that there's a lot of things of it's the lack of social interactions and stuff that, we're not. But now we're seeing people who have autism that are doctors. We're seeing people who have autism. They struggle in some areas, but there are ways to offset that. Now, understandably, it's a spectrum. So we have people along the entire spectrum of different things. But I think that the awareness and the education that we are trying to make people, better at and give them the tools to be able to really offset some of these things and really have these kids be functional members of society and give them the support that they need, gives them a better chance at a future that is filled with a life that can be extraordinary. So, it may not be what we expect it to be, but, you know what I mean? But it's a life that they can enjoy and they can still have a quality of life and,
So I'll just add to what Vivienne said. So he's not broken. That's a rewiring mind, right? He lives in his own world. And I remember his world is beautiful. Oh, one line, his world is beautiful, right? So with Liam, there's like this a lot of innocence about him. He sees the world from such a different point of view, right? So with Liam, he's like a loving child. So that whole misconception that the child in the corner who don't want to be touched and whatever, right? And it's a spectrum. So Liam he's between mild and moderate, right? But he is, it took a while now, but he hugs people. I have people come out to me and they may come, blessed, right? They maybe come and say, oh, I wouldn't even think he's autistic, right? But then you'll see some of these things, but it's so like he has adjusted so well now. He's making eye contact with people. He's initiating conversations. He's not saying like a whole conversation, but he's making sentences. He is, So I really believe if we didn't take these steps that we took through those years, speech therapy, occupational therapy, doing the Motherhood program, there's so much, right? And then in school too, we invested in a school aid for him to stay within a classes to help him stay focused. I've had meetings with the principal, meetings with the teachers. If we don't have that support, like it's so important to have that support system, wouldn't be where he is now. Yeah. And not everybody gets that. And that's what I'm seeing, you know?
Yes.
Actually, time, it's a lot. And I really wish we could have a world where we could reach the masses, regardless of where you are in life and what your child is going through life. That's what I advocate for, you know?
Yeah, sure. And we're going to talk about some of the things that you're doing to help advocate in a second. But while you're doing this, because it's a very active process, the reality of this world is being a parent of a child with special needs is a very active process.
Yes.
There's no way that it is passive because every day it's a new challenge, it's a new pivot, it's a new thing that you guys, have to adjust to and learn about your child and about, managing it in a space that every day we manage. We have to manage a new world, and that is in itself challenging at times, right?
Yeah.
But what are even doing the things that you're doing, what would you say is one of the hardest challenges thus far that you had to face while you've been doing all of these things?
Okay. So well, one is it's so many.
I know. Tell me something that really you know what? There are things that come in our lives that almost break us. I want to know that thing that you felt like, oh my gosh, this almost broke me. It almost broke me.
Okay. It was, honestly, okay, but I'll just say maybe one or two. Honestly, finance, it's a Buddha. If I wasn't in the career I am, and Nico where he is, I don't know what would have happened with me, right? As I said, his investments in the school, we could have waited on the government for that support, but if we did that, we'd still be waiting. To be honest, the waiting list for school aid is long. Yes. And even if you get a school aid, it's not consistent, right? So we made that decision to privately invest in a school aid program. It's also trying to find the right school aid and all that comes with that, right? Then also there's these sessions. We did occupational therapy. We actually put a pause on that because of the investments with school aid.
Okay.
Right now, we also, no, not really school aid. We invested in another program for young, and I don't know if people are familiar, but it's in Morris Center.
Okay.
So
where is that?
It's a branch in Trinidad, but I think it's a US-based company.
Okay.
I think it's US-based.
That's okay.
My God, I forgot the name of the doctor who initiated it.
Okay.
And oh my God, guys, I forgot the name of the program.
That's okay. We'll be able to link some of these things.
Okay.
So we'll link them and we'll create a resources so that people will be able to,
Yeah. So the program, what it's supposed to do is help them with phonics, because one of the challenges is, for example, not being able to pronounce all the letters properly. So phonics, understanding letters, and then eventually it moves into comprehension.
Okay.
Our goal right now for Liam is he is in primary school, and the goal is to get him to, in Trinidad, we have an exam called SCA it's an exam children take to transition into secondary school, right?
Used to be CXC.
Correct.
Our day. No, this is SCA.
Yeah. So our goal is to get Liam to at least be able to
be able to
complete that exam, right? So that Morris Center program, the investment is huge.
Okay.
Huge. So we're doing it part-time. But so financial burden is a big one.
Yes.
And then the other one is a small one would have been, well, it's not small, but is having two children, right? And giving each child that attention without one feeling like, there's favoritism going on. So that was, maybe it still is a battle with Keaton.
Yes.
So we try to make sure we are being called out to like favor me more, like by her. Okay, maybe it's not be true, but it's not favoring. It's just that Liam needed more attention, right? So it was trying to educate her to understand, okay, Liam is, doesn't think this way, and you have to talk to Liam this way, or, that kind of thing.
Now, initially, you said that she wouldn't play with Liam and stuff. What about now, as she's gotten older? Although she's preteen. She's in that preteen spaces.
Yeah. So she's a tween right now. But she had some moments. So there are times where she is like attentive to him and helps out. And even when they were in primary school together, and I found this out after on break time and lunchtime, Caitlin and her friends would actually go and check on him. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that, right? But she's a tween now, so we get to another shift. We have another shift in her room. Yeah, that kind of thing.
But I will tell you something. So, I come to Trinidad, Christmas time and stuff, and I've seen Caitlin, we go to the beach or we do something like that. And I've seen Caitlin where they're doing, she has him trying to do dances with.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right. And including him.
You're doing TikToks.
That's right, TikToks or something like that. And I just felt like that was just amazing. And I feel like she's very protective of him.
She is.
She has the sibling rivalry with him, but and I feel, for want of a better way of saying this, that is normal.
Yeah.
And I give her, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that is her, like, because I see him interacting with her in that space as well, where he responds to that. And in him responding to that, I feel like I just smile and I laugh because I know when he wasn't speaking.
Yeah.
And I know even when he wasn't speaking, we were speaking to him. You know what I mean? And he would always try to communicate, and always, even just now, Terri is here for the interview, and Lee came and I was talking to him and he's responding and he's initiating conversation and he's turning around, and I introduced him to people and he said hello, and these are things that he absolutely was not doing previously.
He'll go shopping and he would tell the customers, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
And,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember Terri sent me the video of the first time Liam read.
Yeah. Oh my God. No.
And it was amazing. Everybody cried. Everybody cried. But it was so great. It was so great. Yeah. You sent it out and it was just like everybody could just celebrate like the success. And, for somebody else, it might be a small thing, but it was a big thing because you know what? It was a big thing that led to so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to point out that we should be celebrating. I know that there are tons of things that you're like, okay, that's great, but we need to do this, but you have to take time to celebrate the wins. And they need to feel the excitement, you know what I mean? Because they are working hard to turn around and do that. There's an interesting thing. You ever heard of the telepathy tapes? It's very controversial, but it's something called the telepathy tapes, where scientists, they were going around talking to a lot of different people, and they were talking about telepathy type stuff, that the kids were communicating in ways, and they were in different rooms and they were doing different ways of telepathy. And what they found is that they were asking these kids different questions where people were not talking, but they absolutely were answering these questions. And one of the biggest things that they answered was that they were more worried about their parents. They were more worried about their parents and making sure that their parents took care of themselves, because they were spending so much time and so much worrying about them.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that we get that point across, that while you're doing all these different things, that they have so much awareness. Because remember, a lot of this is a communication barrier and it's a communication issue, that they have so much that they want to say, and that they are learning. I have a friend who they're doing something right now and they're learning that, wait a minute, she is aware of math. She is aware of science. She is aware of general things that are happening around her. She actually just cannot communicate it.
Right. Okay.
Right. So she's a lot smarter than people think that she is, because a lot of times people also in this, they find that they might be lazy. Like you said, your mom thought it was trouble.
Yeah.
They find they may be lazy or they may be not smart. Or that's not the truth. That's not true.
No.
So sometimes you have to take a little time to really figure out some of these other things. You know what I mean? And what's interesting that you've also brought up, and I want to highlight also, is the fact that sometimes people think that you find this out very quickly. Like if something is going to be wrong, it's going to be wrong at the beginning, like when they're born or something. And sometimes it's delayed.
Yeah.
Things resurface or you see things later on, because you did not figure this out till later on a little bit where things were starting to kind of pop up,
Yeah.
And so that's something else that we want to make sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What strengths did Liam exhibit to you that made you also shift your view of autism?
Okay. So remember I said before, his life is beautiful. Sorry. I really believe, the innocence about him makes me look at life differently. Like really, like he got so in the past, I got so caught up with work and playing the role of mother and wife, and like you just get lost in it.
Noise.
Yeah.
Lots of noise.
Yeah, that that phrase you forget to smell the roses. Like Liam is that. Liam is these smelly roses. And
helps you to slow down a little bit and just take a
and appreciate things, right? And he's so in tune with emotions now. In the past, he wasn't. We had to teach him happy, sad, and those things. And now he's able to tell me
how he's feeling.
I'm sad, mommy, I'm angry, and he's also able to see it and
other people.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
So he it's just that whole change of perspective. Really, I believe happened.
Maybe that's opened up your own emotions.
And I think I need it. No, agreed. You
need a hug?
I'm always need a hug. and then another thing that opened up for me with Liam was he has certain passions that kids are like, So he loves to draw. He loves in my quest to like focus on SE, for example, right? SE is like math, English, science, social studies,
very traditional.
So I was like, hey, all the other subjects. I want to figure out all the other subjects, Spanish. You don't need to know all that, right?
Right.
And then there's music, and his school, there's music class, there's swimming. He has to do extracurricular, and swimming. But because of all these other activities, like I started to see what he's passionate about. So he loves art class, he loves music, he's playing steel pan, swimming, he loves swimming, you understand? So because of that, now I could see, so maybe the career plans I thought he should have been or could have been or whatever. It's really this.
So maybe what you wanted for him.
Yeah. Well,
he's showing you what he wants.
Was
potentially.
What I wanted is what I knew.
Right.
Right? That is what I was exposed to and, what you grew up here, Vivienne Pierre in Trinidad. After be a doctor, lawyer.
Very classic.
Yeah.
None of what you are.
No, but my parents, but my parents made sure we were educated. That was their goal. Degree, masters, and
you can choose what you want.
And start within and be a little. So I couldn't see that for me. But now, I see in this whole other world of career option. I wasn't in the artsy
right.
So yeah.
Right. Which is very great too.
Yeah, but she still fell in.
That's true.
Accountant. She's finance, even though she was great in art.
That's true.
But my parents didn't see art as that.
I know. Actually, my niece in Canada is very artistic.
Yeah.
Very artistic. We are creative, but we're not artistic.
Right, yeah.
And I had that conversation with my brother the other day.
Right.
You do not stifle her creativity. We have to allow her to. I said, I don't know where that's fit to go. I said, we have to, because he's a doctor.
Right.
Case in point.
See, that's because my dad he was autistic. That does beautiful drawing.
So that's why he now creates band.
Fascinating ways to still
and the creativity. Yes, for sure.
I could finance it too.
Well, let's talk a little bit about. So I don't know hold you too long, but let's talk a little bit about. You talked about some of the financial stuff. Let's talk about Trinidad, because I know for a fact that is not something that we grew up with, and that is not something that is highly like. I do know the last time I was here in Trinidad, I saw a program on TV where it was a news program, and they literally had something about autism, and I almost fell off the chair. I was like, what is happening? This is great, but I've never seen this. So it seems to be that they're starting to do something, but I am certain that there are tons of children with special needs, not just autism, but tons of things here that are definitely going undetected. And, let's talk honestly about the landscape here in Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to autism, because I know for a fact that growing up here, I didn't hear anything about autism. And I knew for a fact that not just autism, but other neurodivergent issues is not something that is, known in Trinidad very much.
So, I mean, I could only talk to you from my
perspective.
Right. And honestly, I did not think of the government will assist, right? You heard about and how I found the diagnosis and all that, and what the means by which I was able to get that, right? The only other time government assistance came into mind was, as I mentioned, with the school aid.
Okay.
Right? Now I got even more exposure because in Liam's school there is I'll call her a cerebral consultant. She's like a case. She helps manage for the.
And Liam's school is where?
It's in St. Joseph, St. Xavier's private school.
Yeah.
It's where we went to school.
Yeah, where we met.
It's run by the Colony sister. It's the Roman Catholic schools, right? So there's a board and everything. And the principal is a nun, society, and she has been really great with us. And so a great thing about St. Xavier's is that they have opened up their doors for neurodiverse children, right? Liam was not the first.
Okay.
But he was in the early numbers, right?
Okay.
St. Xavier's is progressing really, really great. I must say, we had a meeting, the society, and Miss Fraser is she used to work in the government.
Okay.
And her role, she would sort of like manage the cases, with respect cases of neurodiverse children with respect to SE. And what they would do is gather all the information regarding the child and their challenges and reports, therapy reports, and use this information to determine concessions for children in SE. And concessions, for some examples of concessions would be if the child needs additional time to complete the test, if they maybe need to be in a separate room.
So who does that? Just this individual?
No, so Ms. Fraser gathers the information. She knows the process because that's what she used to do. And they would pass the information to government officials. It's a whole process.
So in the US, that's something that we call an IEP, right? So in an IEP, usually what happens is you have, it works with the school, and they have where they're coming up with goals and stuff, and they're looking at all the different resources that they would have, whether it's also PT or team speech, as well as the different accommodations that they would need. They would be able to be pulled out of class depending on what needs to happen for different things, and to be able to take them through so that they can function in the school environment, right? And there's a lot of challenges with that sometimes because I don't think that there's enough collaboration in that space, and there should be regular updates and stuff, and sometimes that doesn't happen, so it's not a perfect system, but without it, I think too many things fall through the cracks. Right. But it's a good start, and I love that you hear that. So in the schools here, like St. Xavier's does, and I don't know how many schools actually do it. So it's a good place for them to start. And it sounds like it is something that has to be done for you to even get any government resources at all. We're not sure what all the government resources are, but definitely they look like they do some aids. But do we know if the aids that the government provides?
Also have speech. I think they provide speech therapy as well, and maybe occupational therapy, but the resources are limited.
Yeah.
So with for example, with the aids I had mentioned, so long waiting list.
Yeah.
And even if you get an aid, there's the possibility that the aid is not properly trained.
Right.
There's the possibility that the aids may change or may not attend all the classes. You understand? There's a lot of inconsistencies there.
But how is that? Do they not have something specific? If it's coming through the government, I would expect that
they have
the
programs
aids are
trained. Yeah. So I don't know all the details, and I'm hearing this third party student.
And it sounds like it's still pretty new in the thing. So
they
have the kinks.
Right.
Okay.
So they have programs. They have programs to train, but I guess the demand is so much more than the supply.
Well,
it's
to the point that with education, if people are now understanding that things, instead of being troubled or lazy or this or whatever the case is, that there are a number of different things. And we're talking about autism, but it's not just autism.
Yeah.
There are a number of different neurodivergent type of issues, whether it's CP, whether it's, ADHD type issues, whether it's, a number of different things that affect kids' ability to learn and function in society.
So before, I just want to mention, besides the aids, I mentioned the government support with speech therapy and stuff, but and I've heard this through fellow co-workers who is going through the government system, and those sessions are, so for example, like I was taking them maybe once a week to speech therapy. And through the government system, it might be long periods, it might be as frequent.
So the consistency is definitely
do it privately, right? So that's I want to close up that. The other thing you mentioned, right? So there is another gap. So in terms of teachers, educating teachers about neurodiversity and how to recognize neurodiversion in their class. We have parents, yes. So we didn't ignore it. We actually leaned into it and did our research and whatever. But there are parents who are in denial. And then there are teachers who similar might see them as a troubled child.
Classes are still quite big.
Yeah, so classes could range, like between up to 20 children in a class, and could be more, right? In the S class, I think it's a little less than 20. I think it's like 19 or 17, something like that. But
it's hard when you have, and if you have more than one in your class. Yeah, it's challenging to manage and give the attention that's needed without an aid. That's just the reality of the situation.
And then there's the whole aid-teacher relationship. And then, what the aid's role, that it's not a teacher's assistant.
Right.
For the child.
Right.
So that was another thing to look out for. But the government, so the other side to it that I became aware of this year. So we have a lot of special needs schools that developing and starting up and have been operating and those that operating for quite some years, but they are not government assisted. So a lot of these special schools rely on, it's like private schools. So the parents pay, and this is the money they would use to support the children. So and I became aware of this because through Massy, we participate in United Way Day of Caring every year. This is in May, right? And this year I lean into supporting neurodiverse schools, right?
Okay.
And this is how I got the information. Talking with them, we realize the limited support that they get, right?
Okay.
So hello. It's my son. Sorry.
King.
Yes. Say hi. Come say hi. Come say hi.
We're almost finished, Lee.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Good job. Kelly King?
Yes.
We can have a Kelly King. Okay.
All right. So the what's the word?
The United Way.
United Way. So that's how we found out the limited support that these schools get.
Okay.
Right? So that's another area that needs some requests.
Okay.
So it's educating teachers. It's seeing visiting these schools and seeing what support they may need.
Okay.
Right? Guidance they may need. So in that community of schools, everybody operates in a silo. So there's no come together committee. So everybody's kind of figuring out how to do their school program to meet these needs on their own.
So there's nothing that's bringing everything.
No, there's no umbrella. Gives guidance like these are the things you know.
Financial resources they can assist around. Okay.
No.
So it would be behoove what you call it, options or companies to really help in these areas or these.
So there are organizations. Again, those organizations operate in silos.
Gotcha.
So there's Autism Society, there's Autism Connectivity, there's it's hard to get everybody together. I'm on the same page.
Yeah. It's hard when you don't have an official board that everybody could come together or whatever the case is. It would be lovely to see, and maybe this is something that we can try to accomplish down here. I have some ideas about that, to really bring people together so that people could really feel connected and because not everybody, I would hate to be like, you have to have the financial ability to be able to find the resources. Because if you don't, then you fall to the wayside, and that's unfortunate. Yes. And I know that through your company, you're trying to, create awarenesses, in these different areas, and your company is trying to help with that. But like you said, it's a journey, but it's a big task, if we can turn around and create some additional avenues like that, well, just to finish off, we have what we call open rapid fire.
Oh my God.
So very quickly.
Do I get a prize at the end?
I mean, putting time with me is your prize.
That means you have to line again, right?
Just one word, beach, no.
You always have to be.
Okay. One word that defines motherhood for you.
Oh God, that's
one word.
Oh God. Love.
Okay. One thing autism has taught you about humanity.
Life is beautiful. Oh, sorry about humanity. But yeah, life is beautiful.
Yeah, it's good.
And diversity.
Okay.
Is key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that's too much.
What gives you hope?
That's hard. Because that's still something I'm battling with.
It's okay.
Yeah. But very small. Every small step that William achieves, every milestone he achieves, that is
okay.
Yeah.
What is your new dream?
My dream is that, we have a society, a world that embraces differences, and not just embrace, but accept the differences. And in doing that, this world can be so much better. Like, so many ways.
I agree. I hope that we continue to do that, because we can learn so much from each other. Because I know you've learned a lot from him, and and it's just beautiful to see so much progress that has been made. And I know that there's going to be so much more things happening. And to me, I see it's exciting for me.
Yeah.
Even guys, he just did a cameo.
Yeah. Like you want to learn that any past.
Never would he.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
And it's just so, it is. He fills up a room now. You know what I mean? He fills up a room, which is so amazing. So guys, Terri's story here reminds us that leadership isn't just what happens in boardrooms, right? It happens at kitchen tables, right? Whether it's in the therapy room, whether it's in moments where that fear that you have meets the courage that you have for your kids, for your families, for everything else involved, To our listeners, if today's episode really resonated with you, you know that you're not failing your child. You're learning, you're adapting, you're becoming exactly the parent that your child needs as he continues to grow and find himself in this new world that we have. If you're looking for tools, professionals, a community that understands your journey, I invite you to join us here at Breaking Limits and in our Neuropedia Connect community, a global community built to educate, inspire, and empower families navigating special needs. I implore you guys to join our free Facebook group, Beyond the Diagnosis, a life rewritten for families of children with special needs. You guys know that we will put some links. We are trying to create some resources, some global resources where we're not just local, because you guys know I'm now in Utah. So it's not just local resources. We are here talking to people from all over the globe and all over the United States to really bring different ideas and different things for you in your area, and for you to use those things to find the different resources that you guys can now tap into in your specific areas. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell us your thoughts and the topics that you guys want to know more of. So Terri, thank you for your honesty and sharing your experience and your family story and everything that you've learned so far with us. And to our listeners, until next time, you are seen, you are strong, and you are not alone. Let's keep walking to the extraordinary, where we continue to break limits. Thank you guys so much.